All right, all right, all right. Hey, everybody. How y'all feeling? It is Tuesday. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's Talk It Out Tuesdays. And you know what that means? It's Talk It Out Tuesdays with Tori and MsTonya. That's right. Your admission today is the truth. That's what you got to come in here with. You can say what you want to say, but you got to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth in here because we got a conversation that it really requires that. Yeah, it really does. We're asking a question here, and we are asking, would girl dads want their fathers to date a man like them? Let me ask that. Let me ask this in a different way because these are some dating, things that we're talking about here. Would a girl dad want his daughter to date a man like him? It's the Noontime My Time podcast. This is episode 55. And we're going to talk all it out. We're going to talk it out. That's what we're going to do. But before we do that, we're going to do what we have to do. We do what we do every day. We take a little bit of moment, just take a brief moment for ourselves and do a little breath work because we want to be the best versions of ourselves. And we want to feel good. Somebody may have gotten on your nerves already today. So we're going to shake that off. We're going to breathe that out. Y'all ready for it? What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. And I want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your head pods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Doesn't that feel great? Don't you feel great? I hope you feel great. I hope you do. I hope you do. We're getting ready to get into a very good conversation here. Some dating revelations. Yeah. We want to know, do fathers want their daughters to date men like them or date how they date? It's a provoking conversation. It's one that I feel like we should have. I feel like it's one that we should share because I want us to unleash our powers, queens. We got to unleash our power. And if we're going to unleash our power, we've got to do some rewiring. We've got to change some of these dating narratives that's going on out here because we're looking to find some love. And you're able to find it on your own terms. And maybe somebody that you need to be talking to about it could be your father. You could probably get some enlightening information and have an enlightening conversation on this journey of dating, talking to your dad. It's Talk It Out Tuesday. And you know who? You know I can't do it without my girl. My girl is in here. What's up, Tori?
What it do? What it do? It's Tuesday already. Girl, we had so much fun last week. You know you cut up real bad last week, boy.
No, don't say I cut up, did I?
And did. But it was good though. It was good. It was good. What's up, y'all?
Well, I'm going to try to be on good behavior today. I'm going to try.
We gonna see how that. It was good though. It was really good. So I'm
But I
excited
tell
about
you,
today's topic.
I am too. And what I want to ask you, I am excited about the topic because I think it's a good conversation to have, But why don't you tell people why you chose this topic and give us a little background on what motivated you to go here with the conversation.
From personal experience, I chose this topic because I was dating someone, and this person was putting me through some changes. And this person had a daughter, and the daughter started dating someone that was putting his daughter through the same changes. And I'm like, you ready to fight, and you ready to, you know how men are protecting their daughter, they may get a weapon. So I'm like, you ready to do all those things when this guy is doing the same thing to your daughter that you're doing to me? So that's what made me have this topic of, would you, fathers with daughters, are you able to handle your daughter dating a man like you? And then let me tell you something else, Tanya. It also, this, when I started thinking about it this morning, it also made me reflect and look at the mirror at myself. I have a son, and I had asked myself that question: would I want my son dating a woman like me? So it made me start thinking. I'm like, would I
Ooh.
be able to? Yeah, I start looking at that. What's was interesting.
Hmm.
But that was the reason. Yeah, but that was the reason why I wanted to discuss this, because a lot of times men can treat women a certain way. They can be womanizers, manipulators, and they have daughters, but they can't handle when their daughter date a man such as themselves. Now, granted, there are men that change, but
Mhm.
they don't always change. But they be ready to
Well,
fight when.
well, the bond between a father and daughter is so strong, and it really shapes a woman's life. It really shapes our whole perception of relationship and men, and it really does play a huge role in our self-worth. So, it's like to have that balance between honoring and having some type of respect for your father and his opinions, it really is gonna show up in your dating life, and I don't know how important men know that to be, particularly if they have daughters. And then too, like you said, when they're out here and they have this style of dating, they know how they date, they know what they're doing out here in these streets, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure it never crossed their mind, like, what happens if my daughter runs into a man like me? And when you brought the idea, this topic up for us to have as a conversation, it made me reflect as well. I'm like, well, geez, a man couldn't be thinking like that if he's not like moving the right way. You know what I mean? If he's really not being the best who he can be in this dating world, he's out here. Because in fact, kind of what you're talking about last week when we were talking a bit about how I said pretty much, let me just kind of just be blunt with it. There's no way to really sugarcoat it, and I don't really feel like it was a bad thing to say. But basically, I was saying that women can't really hoe as much as men. You just cannot do that. And so we brought into this idea, and a lot of women they date in such a way that they're fearful of being called a hoe, so they don't really date the way they should be dating, or for my idea of how they should be dating, because you should have a selection process. Now, dating and sex are two different things, so we're not really talking about that. But I was saying that, don't be fearful of being called a hoe, because men are out here hoeing. They're the biggest hoes. And so I think that's what you were talking about in terms of me cutting up. Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay. But it's true. I mean, you can.
yeah,
They're out here like
yeah.
that. They really are, and they're really easy because they're driven by sex, and particularly at those young hormonal ages, and some of them take it way beyond that, you know what I mean? And just physically, you're not ever gonna be able to have the amount of bodies that a man is gonna be able to have. You're not. It's not physically possible. Your body cannot take what a man does and how many women that a man could sleep with per day. A woman cannot keep up with a man. So stop thinking that um, you some big hoe when they really the hoes out here. So I wanted to just change that narrative. Okay. But beyond that, just speaking on the impact of how a man dates and how he know he dates when it comes back around to his daughter beginning to date.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how they feel. I really don't. And I see we've got Genesis here in the podcast already joining us in the chat. How you doing, lady?
Hey, girl.
She thinks that's a good topic, and she's telling us good afternoon. Over there at Culture of Florence, I know you got something good going on. I got to get out there. I got to get out there. But let me just say this: I ran across this this man who I wasn't really aware of, but as always, when we choose a topic, I do a little, I do a little dive. I want to do a little research, and I came across this spiritual leader. He's a coach and an author. His name is Darius Daniels. Are you familiar with him?
Yes, absolutely. He's amazing.
Okay.
Darius
Okay.
Pastor, yeah, I listen to him a lot. His teaching is really great. And I forgot there's a book that I was reading of his. I want to say it's called Relational Emotional Intelligence or something like that. But he has a
Right.
great book out too that I was reading. So yeah, I'm very familiar with him and I love listening to him.
Well, I ran across him. I don't know very much other than, what I have been reading, the past couple of days, but I did come across his YouTube channel. And in respect to our topic today, he kind of, he has a video where he was talking a little bit about this. So what I want to do is I want to share a little bit of what he had to say on the matter, and then we'll take the conversation with there. You cool with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's hear the brother.
What up, everybody? Darius Daniels, and I'm back with the fourth thing I would tell my daughter. Let's go. Well, listen, hey, here is the fourth thing I would tell my daughter if I had one. It is very simple. It can be summarized in this one statement. Here it is. You might like him later. You might like him later. Now, what do I mean by that? There are seasons in a person's life where things that they find attractive in that season, they find unattractive in another season. Or there are traits and attributes that they find unattractive in one season and they find attractive in another. And I'm gonna tell you something. I want the sisters to lean into me right here. Now, this is just my observation. This is anecdotal. Of course, no one can speak specifically to everyone. Of course, what I'm about to say is a generalization, but it is a generalization that's been informed by my experience as a person who has spent 2 decades serving people. This is what I found. I found specifically with sisters that certain traits that they may have found corny in one season actually give them comfort in another season. I'm just telling.
All right, all right. Hold right there. Hold it right there. Did you hear what the brother said?
Oh my God, I was about to throw my phone.
Now, now we might have
Listen.
some fathers who want to come on in and join the conversation, or some ladies in the chat join the conversation. But what the brother just said just now, talk to me.
Listen. When he said that something that you thought was corny back then, it gives you comfort now. When I tell you I can relate, like when I was like teenage dating as a teenager in my early 20s, I'm not gonna even lie. I was attracted to the thug, the hardcore, the no nonsense dude. And I felt like the ones that was in the church or that was quiet, that were nerds, I felt they were boring, they were corny. But now in my late 40s, man, there's nothing like having a man that's in the church, a man that because I actually had a high school sweetheart that treated me like a queen when I was a teenager. But I thought he was corny. And y'all remember back in the day when we be on the phone, and you know how sometimes you don't have much to say, you just be holding the phone. I said, you don't even be talking. We just holding the phone. I thought that was so corny. You know what? I would love to experience that now. We fall asleep on the phone. Listen, he's
Right.
on point. He's definitely on
Right.
point with it. I totally agree. That's why I said, "Oh my God, not, I want to throw my phone." I said, "No, but I need the phone."
But see, that's the thing, and that's what he was saying. He would tell his daughter if he had a daughter, and I feel pretty much like how you felt. I was like, "Whoa, he's saying something that's like really, really important here." I think, women might need to hear this. And so it just made me wonder, like, are men having these type of conversations with their daughters? Are they really sharing that type of information? I'm not sure. But we have a comment here from Genesis. You want to see what she's talking about?
Now, you know when I'm on the road, I can't see, so you're gonna have to read
Oh,
the comments today.
you know, I forgot you were on the road. Let me go ahead and
Mm.
break it on down. I see Genesis. She says he's talking about what compromise and
Com-
being in a relation. I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay. He's talking about compromise and being in a relationship or sticking it out through a situation instead of thinking the grass is greener. I heard we are human and I love you regardless. Great clip, Miss Tanya. Well, listen, the brother, there's a few more things that he's talking about in the clip that I feel like, we kind of already dived kind of deep into and are really discussing it, but it was great hearing it from a man. I see we got Stephanie Eccles here in the building. She says, "Hey sis, so glad I'm able to join today. So good to have you here. So good,
What's
good,
up,
good to have."
Stephanie?
Oh yeah, but that's important. And also, how many women actually have those type of relationships with their fathers that they might be able to have the conversation? I'm not so sure about that. We just have a lot of single mother homes. And even if they're single mother homes, there's still conversations that we can have. And it just makes me wonder how a father is navigating between wanting their daughters to find happiness and wanting to protect them from some of the heartbreaks that maybe that he's aware of that he's caused. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's funny that you say that because I was thinking about that as you was talking about having that conversation with your daughter, the father having that conversation with your daughter. I was thinking to myself, I've never had that type of conversation with my dad, and I would love to have that type of conversation with my dad. But we never,
Yeah,
we don't have those deep conversations. But that was that having a father talk to you the way that he broke that down is very, very refreshing. I would definitely love that, actually.
absolutely. I see we got Cynthia here in the building. She says, "Hey ladies, great topic. How you doing?"
What's up, Cynthia?
It is because like we say, that relations that father daughter bond is really, really important, and it is also unfortunate when you don't get to cultivate that bond and you don't really
Mhm,
know what that is. You have a strained or a strained relationship. uh
mhm,
so you're going to go through some difficulties when it comes to dating, and it makes me curious. It always makes me curious about when I see men with their daughters, and particularly when they're little girls. I find it just a very infectious thing. It put a smile on my face, you know what I mean? But I also want to know, like, what advice do fathers have for their daughters when it comes to dating and finding a partner who might have similar qualities that they have. So I hope that we're going to get some men who jump into this conversation like we typically do when we're having conversations here. I see Stephanie here has a comment. She said, "Love this. Yes, my dad wanted to protect me from the heartbreak he put on my mom, which eventually was the root of their divorce." Respect.
oh,
It's
that's
always
good.
good when they're able to reach a stage and an age that, they can have that conversation with you because, you want to feel protected. And men, I would think that men would want to have that protective instinct, and not all men are out here just in the worst of character. We know that. So we're not even going to talk about one particular man, because we also have to think about if a father has been hurt, or what if he's had negative experiences in past relationships. And
Right.
he's got to figure out how he's going to develop and be able to have this conversation to protect his daughter from some of the same pains that he may have gone through. So there's a conversation to be had on both sides of the fence.
Right. And just think about the fathers that are amazing fathers, and and I'm pretty sure, because I've actually dated a gentleman where he set the standard for his daughter. So he was just so heartbroken when his daughter started dating someone that was totally different from him. Like, he was the type of father that held the door open, whenever he did not allow his wife, or well, his wife after me, but he didn't allow any woman to touch a doorknob, whether it be the car or if you're walking in a building. And even when someone is walking behind them, he will hold the door. So it baffled him when his daughter started dating someone that was verbally and physically abusive,
Wow.
and he just couldn't understand it. He was like, "Why?" And this is not, I've set a standard for you. Why would you, you know what I mean? But you
Right.
never know. You never know what what's going through. And then it's like the guy had his daughter mind. I mean, it's like she would not leave him alone.
Mhm.
Still going back to them to this day. But he just can't understand why. I did not show you that way. So why are you attracted to that?
Right.
So
It
so it don't it
happens. Because you
yeah.
don't you really can't really say what, a person is gonna be attracted to. There's really not anything you can do about that.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be your hope that beyond attraction, that they've got some type of values and some type of standards. Um, I see that we got Genesis here with a comment. She said, "Miss Tanya, we have great fathers that are really doing and telling them about how men are good and bad, how to be treated, what to accept, what's growing pains in a relationship. But again, this may be harsh. Most men can't have that conversation with their daughters because they're still chasing women they're still chasing women that are their daughter's age. Oh my. Oh my.
Ooh, that's the truth. Oh my God.
Mm. I don't know
That
if we was ready.
part. I wasn't ready, but that's the truth. That is the truth.
That's a lot.
Woo-hoo. I forgot
And
about that part.
that's the question. That really is the question. I see Stephanie here. She says, "That's a good one." Whew, that kinda took us out. And, Cynthia Yvonne says, "Speak, Genesis, speak." Okay? Oh, yeah. She told the truth now. She spoke a word right there. And, Cynthia Yvonne
Ooh,
also said, "And sometimes manipulation is a stronghold." And I know that she's speaking in reference to when you were talking about the young man that the girl was involved with, who kinda had a stronghold on her, even though she had
yeah.
a father who was a positive role model.
Mhm.
So, it really does happen. I wanna scroll through, a little bit more video with Darius Daniels. What you think?
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Let's do it.
Now I just pulled some videos, so some of it he may be a little redundant. If so, I'll try to scroll through it. Let me get something started here.
Telling you, I'm just telling you, I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. That there are some traits that may have been seen as corny in one season that actually give comfort in another season. And I'm just saying what I would tell my daughter, and I would tell her, hey, listen, you might like him later. You see, responsible isn't necessarily attractive in high school. It might not be responsible, might not be attractive when you're 24, but responsible is attractive when you're 42. And And what I am, I'm just, hey, I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Now, let me tell you what I'm not saying. I am not saying that you should ignore what you find attractive. I think part of what you find attractive is part of your uniqueness as an individual. Like two women can look at the same person and one find them attractive and another not find them attractive. There are some women where the physical is incredibly important. The aesthetics is incredibly important. The look is important. The height is important. The skin complexion is important. Well, I've seen others where it is not that it doesn't matter, but those things are just not as important. It's the personality. It's, can the person make me laugh? Does the person make me smile? Does the person make me feel safe? So I've seen diversity in all sorts of attraction. All I'm saying is this: I've seen it so many times. The things that you find that women find corny in one season, they are comforted by, and in another, the things they were looking over when it came to men in high school and college become the things that they are looking for in later seasons in life.
Hey,
Mm,
hey. And you
Listen.
mentioned that. You went straight there after his initial after we watched that first clip. You went there. And that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Because you got to look at it like this. Just by hearing that, even hearing that as an older woman, it makes us reflect. But isn't that something that you would have loved to have heard younger?
Right. Listen, that could have saved, if I would have heard this years ago as I was as a teenager, that could have saved me so much heartbreak.
I mean, Genesis
Ooh.
says, "I love him." Even making your mistakes, because we're all
Mm,
gonna live and make our own mistakes, and we got to live our own life. We have to do that, certainly. But just to have that piece of information could be
yeah.
so valuable, because you will have it tucked back there in the back of your mind with all of that
Yeah.
stuff that your mama told you that you shouldn't do, and you do it, and then when something go wrong, you be like, "Oh, that's what mama
Yeah.
meant, or that's what mama was talking about." Same principle. So
Right.
it would be so
Right.
awesome to have some of those nuggets.
Yeah.
Um,
I
he
know
put
that
me in.
if I would have had it, I know if I would have had that back then, I would have made. Not to say that I wouldn't say all the heartbreak would have been prevented, but I know that I would have made wiser decisions had I had that type of guidance.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly. And that's the whole idea. And like the title of the podcast here today that we chose, it seems like it scared the brothers away, because brothers be in here thick, but not a brother in the comment today.
They scared.
Not not
They
a brother in
scared.
the comment today. All we asked, and I don't think it was a horrible question to ask, would fathers with daughters want their girls to date someone who resembles them when they were younger? A conversation
Yeah.
we were trying to have. That's all we were trying to do. We wanted to highlight you guys, what information you have to share, because the thing about it is, the same way that we are listening to clips from Darius here, there might be some information that they could share that could help someone else who might not even be directly their daughter. Or if you don't have a daughter, don't be scared now. I mean, but the admission today maybe was a little bit too costly. Admission today was too. And some of these truths might not be easy. I don't know. I don't know. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got a man in the building. We got a good man in the building. All right, we got Les Eccles in the buildings with us right now. How you doing, Les? Always good to have you here.
What's up, Les?
Oh, yeah. Les says the greatest men have some bad traits. Same with women. It makes us human. When advising children, we don't say, I am not this. So don't be with this. say all people have bad qualities. And if those bad qualities are hurtful, that's not the situation for you. Absolutely. I agree with that. And, you know, it's not so much that the particular language that we're talking about here, less in terms of saying, okay, I don't expect a father to be out here, be like, you know what, your daddy was a dog. I was out here in these streets, ask your mama, your mama wasn't the only one. No, that's not what we're saying. The thing
Yeah.
is here is that as a parent, you know what your dating life is, or whatever the case may be, and you still have some information that you can share with your children, your daughter, as it relates to dating and as it relates to men, because that's valuable information. We're not saying tell on yourself. We're saying prepare your daughter, prepare her, give her some things to think about, good and the bad. What you said here is absolutely correct. Mothers and fathers are not perfect. We're not. We're not designed to be, but we certainly have experiences that we can share, and everything is going to be age appropriate, of course.
Hmm.
But no, I don't say get out here and say, hey, I'm a pimp. Not at all. All right. I see Genesis here in the comments. She said, that's how my grandma said. He might be fat, but he can lose weight. That man take care of you. He don't need a six pack his and all his teats. Oh my goodness. I had to think about that one for a minute. I was like, because I know sometimes it's typos and sometimes my eyes be rolling over words and my mouth get mixed up. So I had to make sure I was reading that right, but I was. So let me start over. She said, that's how my grandma said. He might be fat, but he can lose weight. That man take care of you. He don't need a six pack and all his teats. He a good man. Absolutely. But I'm gonna just say this now. I do like certain things, and I like teeth. I like teeth, and I know they replaceable parts. But whatever the teeth situation is, we gonna fix the mouth. We got to get the mouth right. We got to get the mouth right. All right. Oh, I see we got Lisa in the building here with us. Lisa Woodenmore, how you doing? Cuz always have the good to have good people in the building. Gonna ask a question of my boyfriend right now. Good one. That is a good question. That's a good question to ask the men in our lives. I certainly think that it is a good question to ask. I also see we got Mary Fonda Hines in the building. She's tuned in. How you doing, Mary?
Hey, Miss Mary.
All right, all right. Let's right back here with a comment for us. When advising, we have to be mindful not to border on hypocrisy. Listen,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
listen, you're right. But that's a
Hmm.
difficult line to tread because, like you said in your initial comment, we've done some good and we've done some bad. So, for me, I don't know so much that hypocrisy is going to play a huge role. I just kind of want to be able to share some nuggets if I can.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I guess that's the best we can do. I just think it's important to be able to let our young girls know at age appropriate times things
Hmm.
that they should be looking out for, age appropriate language. I have to tell you that I remember in my early teens, my father, we were sitting on the front porch. In fact, we were sitting on the steps, and I think I was probably 13, and he was telling me, a little something about boys. And he said, boys are thinking about things a little bit differently than girls. I remember the language because while he was very carefully trying to walk around the conversation of saying, okay, well, boys are thinking about sex and girls are not, so heavy into that. Don't feel pressured into it. I'm kind of, summarizing it, but I could hear him carefully trying to say that. But of course, at 13, we kind of know that a little bit, but it was good to hear that from my father because a man was telling me what boys are thinking about and what boys will be wanting from you. So be
Hmm.
careful of that. Pay attention to that. And I never forgot it. So I knew that, I knew from my father that boys my age and boys at teenage ages, they start thinking about sex really heavy. So, be wary of your circle of friends and whatever you're going to call your boyfriend, or we're just friends, because, as young people, we go through that thing of, you know, we have friends. They really are just our friends. But sometimes we say they're just our friends and we're not really telling the truth. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And see, the thing with what Les is saying, I actually, to be honest, of course, I told my son certain things when he got older enough to understand. But when he got older of age, my son is currently 17, but when he got probably 12 and 13, I started to reveal things to him about myself that wasn't perfect, because I saw that he was looking at me as if I was perfect. I saw where he was putting me on a pedestal. So when he got 12 and 13 years of age and he could understand certain things, I had to break it down. Well, your mama did this, your mama did that, and that was not right. And he was
Hmm.
like, really? And he didn't even
Hmm.
see that. He just thought I was perfect. I said, no, your mother did some wrong too. I'm
Right.
not perfect. And I want you to be better than what I did. Because I heard him listen to this very popular song, and even a lot of kids listen to this song a couple years ago. That I think it's Pokey Bear, and the song is called Side Piece. So I was like, he loves listening to that song. Let me see where his mind is at. So
My
I said,
side
Kadir,
piece.
yeah. I said, Kadir, why you like this song? I said, so you want to? He said, no, mama. He said, I just like the. He said, I just like the beat. I just like the song. I said, okay. So when you get older, I said, are you gonna be a woman? He said, no, 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 no. He said, I just like the song. He said, but when I start dating, I want to be faithful to my wife or my girlfriend. I said, okay. I said, whoo, because I was a little nervous. He said, well, mama, you know
That
what? I just
is
like this.
very, that's my song. Ain't nothing like hearing that song and, seeing the sugar daddies get on the floor with the cane and the belly over the belt, and you get a little two-step going. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
He was like, yeah, but he was like, nah. He said, nah, I just like the song. I said, whew, okay, cool. I said, because you scared your mama. You made me nervous.
Oh, yeah. I see we got Les here. He says, when advising, we need to be mindful not to border hypocrisy. We read that, but what he was saying is,
Hmm.
for example, how daddy, mommy telling me this, and then they doing that, So
Right.
we
You know
get
how
that.
we say that? You know how we say, do as I say, not as I do?
Exactly.
Ooh, I had to catch myself saying that one day. I said, you know what? Let me correct this. I'm telling you to do things one way, and I'm not doing it myself.
Mhm.
Let me do what I'm telling you to do, so I won't have to say that, because that don't make sense. Do as
Absolutely.
I say, but not as I do. So I had to correct myself. Actually, in that moment when it came out of my mouth, I said, you know what? That don't sound right. How I'm gonna tell you to do something that I'm not doing?
But
So I
but
had to
guess
correct.
what? Parenting ain't perfect. That's gonna
Ooh,
happen. We have all done that. We will probably do
yeah.
it again. But the idea is that you catch yourself, because Les here
Mm,
says, I made these mistakes and missteps. Be careful. That's all we can do. That's all we
yeah.
can do. We're not perfect. Uh, these kids don't come out with instructions. We don't know what to do. We figuring it out. If you want to talk about on the job training, this is it. And it's
Right.
forever on the job training, because they're forever
Absolutely.
growing. There's forever new experiences. So I'm just not that hard on myself. I'm not. I'm not. I know I've made some missteps. But listen, the best thing I can do is give you these gems, put some information out here, and you're gonna take it and do whatever you do with it. I still can't make you do any particular thing, and especially when they reach a certain age. Uh, so that's what it is. I see we got a comment here from Mary Fonda Hines. She said, pick someone who encourages you to be your best self. This is good advice for young people. Self esteem has a lot to do with how young people choose friends, both platonic and to date. Absolutely. It is.
That's real good. That's really good.
It is. But the truth of the matter is, hormones come and play a role in that. Sometimes we
Mm.
just lose our mind. And How do you know what you're going to be attracted to? You just see this boy and you like him, and for whatever reason, you think his big head look good. And you
Right.
don't have, yeah, you don't have any priorities yet because you're young. You just have no priorities yet. I see Lisa
Right.
in the comments here. She also says, as far as daughters dating someone like he was when he was younger, this this was his response. Okay, she said, absolutely. As long as she was aware and realistic about who he was and what he was about. I like that. I absolutely like
Mm,
that because that is important. Like we say, when we ask this question, it isn't necessarily to side or think that this is a one-sided conversation and that it is going to be really the negative side, because the importance of that father-daughter bond is really, really important. And you're going to have fathers who desire their daughters to find partners who resemble them, because they're going to find, because they know that they are good men, you know, or at least
right.
they find themselves to be good partners. So
Mm,
I like that, and that's always good to hear. Good, good, good. We Those are the type of men, folk, that we really want in our life. You know,
right. Right. And
I
like I
think
said
Derek. Yeah,
earlier,
go ahead.
I just gonna say, and then there are men that they do change. So that's a great thing as well, especially because I know there was a conversation. I remember, I think it was Craig Boatwright making a comment. I don't want to use this. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was to the effect of boys are taught to run through women. They're taught to have many girlfriends, and we as little girls, we're not taught that. And then
Hmm.
I also was thinking as we were talking. Also, my mom was a single parent, and when it came to the sex part, me and my mother never had the conversation. I learned about sex through when we had sex education in school, in middle school and high school. But when my brother was coming along, instead of her, this is funny now, but back then parents do the best that they could. But instead of my mom saying, trying to encourage him not to engage in sexual activity, she told him, which scared the child to death, she said, if you have sex, you're gonna get AIDS. So
Wow.
it was like, so he was like terrified. He was like, if I do this, so you have to be very mindful of what you say to your children and how you say it. Now, I will say this as a mother, and we've had this conversation a while back where, being a single mom raising a son, of course, I can't always teach my son, I can't teach him how to be a man, but I can teach him morals and values. So when we had a conversation about sex, I just encourage him to wait. And let me tell y'all gonna laugh. Let me tell y'all the example that I use. Y'all remember that basketball player? I want to say he played for the Lakers. I think his name was AC Green or something. And he
Mhm.
remained a virgin until he got married. And I use that as an example. My son was like, yeah, I understand you want me to wait. But he said, Mom, I don't know if I can wait that long. Because I think he waited till he got married. He was like in his 30s, but he stayed a virgin until he got married. And he said, and like I said, me and my son had this conversation. We laughed about it, but he was like, I don't know if I can wait that long. And I
Right,
respected it. And so I just told myself, if you do engage, just make sure you protect yourself. So that was
right.
really funny to me. But we were able to talk about it. And the reason why I brought that up is because me and my son could talk about it. We could laugh about certain things. But my brother was scared to even ask my mother questions because she put it out, you gonna get AIDS or other these girls got this that, and he was scared to ask questions. So
That Listen, that's frightening. I mean, just hearing you say that was frightening. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Ooh, child. Yeah.
yeah, we
That's
talked. Me
called
and my
scared.
brother
I
talked.
don't know if that scared straight can work. Not in that situation. I see Les here has a comment. He says, men have to first build that type of relationship with their daughters so that they can even talk to them, which is right. Otherwise, they're going to be like, who are you? What is this conversation about? Lisa also
Right,
comes in and said, absolutely. As long as she was aware and realistic about who he was and what he was about. Les also comes in with the comment here. He says, nah, don't find a dude like me. Find someone better. Okay. I like that. I like that. But that's all going to be, that's going to be a part of that value system that a girl is going to have to speak, find out for herself as well, because you need to
Mhm.
know what qualities and values you find important in a partner. And maybe I feel like a very general conversation that a father could have with a daughter is discussing, you know, like, hey, these are some qualities and values that are important to look for in a partner, and that could be based on your own experience. You can say that. There's ways that you can talk about some of the ways that your past relationships or your views on love just kind of molded you into the person that you are and into the relationship with your wife or their mother or whatever the case may be. The situation could get um, only sticky based on how you choose to communicate, but I certainly feel like if you wanna have a conversation about qualities and values, it's not hard to go wrong there. That's a very good place to start because those are some of the things that they should be thinking about. Um, and then you have to think about, I think at certain ages, particularly in the young teen years, you might just wanna have some general conversations with them about what age you consider a good age for dating and have that conversation with them, because that could take you into a conversation that you may need to have, you know? Um, just kind of thinking of some things kind of you might want to share what some red flags or some warning signs might be if this is a person that they need to be aware of or pay attention to their habits, somebody that you may not need to be around. Just some of those things. They don't always have to this conversation doesn't have to revolve around sex or manipulation of women, or it doesn't have to go there, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
whoever the parent is, the father or mother, but we're talking about fathers here, he knows what his lifestyle is, and I feel like a man who's lived that lifestyle, he's got the greatest information to share. So share that information. Let her know what a man can think, how he might be looking at you. You know,
Right.
that's what I
And
think.
I was also going to say, for me personally, when you grow up with the father not there, I know growing up I was searching because I didn't have, the father wasn't in the home and I didn't have him active, in my life. So I was out here searching. When I started dating, I was a little lost because
Mhm.
I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't
Mhm.
and I didn't see the examples of what it looks like for a man to treat a woman how they deserve to be treated. I was just out here searching.
Right.
And just,
Right.
and then of course my self-esteem was low back then. And so I was just out here making a lot of mistakes. And I just wish that back then I had a Darius Daniels in my life to tell me to sit me down and instill those values in me. Because like I said, I would have made some wiser decisions had I
Mhm.
had someone talk to me in that way, in a caring, protective way. And it's like now in my 40s, I hear it, but now I know that for myself through life experiences, of course. But like I said, if I'd have had that bit then, I would have made some better choices. And now I'm
Yeah.
looking back and I'm like, dang, look at some of the choices I made, Lord.
Yeah. And we listen, we all have that. We all have that.
Yeah,
So nobody who is listening to this conversation, they can't judge.
yeah,
They know what they got going on, so whether or not they admit it, keep it to themselves, whatever the case may be, we don't always make the right decision, and there are no perfect decisions, you know? But,
right.
like I said, there's just some key things that I feel like very basic conversation that we could have so that she can have those gems in the back of her head. Something like even if you gave her advice on effective communication, like conflict resolution. How do you resolve conflicts with a partner or someone that you love or that you think you love? You know, That's key because, conflict resolution is a very key part of a relationship, of any good relationship. Um, and in today's time, you know, talk to her about like what it's like to be with a woman who has her independence so that she can understand how to maintain her independence and her individuality while still being able to be in a committed relationship. That's something incredible that you have to learn to balance. It's important to hear a man's point of view on that because we know how we feel as women. We know what our mothers are telling us, what we're talking about with our good girlfriends. You got everybody out here talking about the girl boss, lady boss, this, that, and the other. But how can you have your independence and be individual and be in a committed relationship? What does that look like to a man? And if your father or a male mentor in your life can tell you that, those are some good gems to have. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I see we got some
Absolutely.
comments rolling through here. Mary Fonda Hines says, "You're right. This is why building our young people up is so important. Fathers are so important when raising girls. Showing traits of strength, stability, reliability is important. Whether in the home with her or not, she can see what a real man looks like." Absolutely. I see we got another man here in the building with us. We got Malik in the building.
Malik!
Yeah, yeah,
What up,
yeah.
Malik?
How you doing, man? Always good to have you. You know we love you in the chat. The conversations seem like it's not the same when we don't have you and Les in the building with these conversations. But Malik says here, there will never be another me. I will want her to find herself, and this takes time and experience. I would let her know that I come from another time, and I would let her know the reality of a man's desire for a young woman's companionship. See that
Ooh, I
last sen
like that.
I love everything you said, but that last
Yes.
sentence,
Yes.
you got me,
I
bro.
love it. I
I got to
love it.
read
I
I got to
love
read that
it.
last sentence again. He said, "And I would let her know the reality of a man's desire for a young woman's companionship." That's important.
Mm,
That's
that's
very
real
important.
important.
A girl needs to hear that. And it's important to hear that from a man. It's incredible when you have good male friends that you can have this conversation with as well. But it ain't nothing like hearing it from your daddy. You understand me? Malik also says
Right.
there's a dope hip hop song out right now that is the perfect example of the talk. I am at that age that I don't know the name of it. They play it every day on the radio. Well, guess what? We at the same age, brother, and I don't know what you're talking
I don't know what
about.
you're talking about either. I don't have a clue.
All right. Lisa says you on point, Malik. Oh yeah, he on point. He on point. Voodoo might know. Voodoo child in the building. Always good to have him in the building.
What up, Voodoo?
Oh, yeah. He says, stop lying to your daughters. Expose your whorish past. See, Voodoo, you said something. Tori, Voodoo, Tori asked me to behave today, so I couldn't say it. So I want to read your comment again. She put me on lockdown. She said, you cut up last time. So I didn't say it. This is Voodoo. Voodoo says, stop lying to your daughters. Expose your whorish past. You a hoe, you a hoe. Let's sit here laughing at Voodoo. Well, listen, it's true. It's true. And I ain't saying your mama wasn't a hoe either. We got I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
See?
But I'm just saying she probably wasn't as big of a hoe as your daddy.
Oh,
That's
oh
all
my
I'm saying.
goodness.
It's equal
Oh Lord.
opportunity hoeing out here. It really is.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh
And
my
I see
goodness.
Cynthia. She says, yes, Voodoo. And she got a whole bunch of hand claps. A whole bunch of hand claps. She agreed. We all agree with him, Cynthia.
And see, here's the thing with a woman, if a woman is actually out there doing her thing, women have to be careful because we actually carry children. But men, they can drop off a seed and they have kids here and there. Because I know growing up, people coming, I'm your sister, I'm your, I'm like, who your daddy? And then when they say my daddy name, I say, oh, that's your daddy too. So,
Child. Hmm. I am a baby mama of one of them type fathers. I got 2 kids, but I got a lot of children, and my kids got sisters and brothers.
oh goodness, I was
So I
like,
done been with some
ooh,
hoes myself. I done been with some hoes. And I'm not exposing no hoes because he very
oh
well lived
goodness.
in his wholeness and he was proud of it. So I'm not telling y'all or exposing nothing that the man wasn't,
Yeah.
probably didn't tell y'all himself. Or for that matter, a lot of you just probably just know.
Oh my
Because you
goodness,
find out
yeah.
more after after you break up in a relationship, you find out a whole lot more than you did when you was in it.
Oh Lord have mercy. Ooh,
Especially with the
that
hoes.
part.
Especially with the hoes. Especially with All right, we're gonna get off the hoes because we know that hoes rule the world too. It's okay. Hoeing it's all right. But we do want to share qualities and values with our young people. I mean, let's just be honest, and it doesn't have to go around, doesn't have to be about sex. It doesn't. You want to have that sex
Yeah.
conversation with young people, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm really talking about just letting them, helping them shape their views and ideas about what love and commitment and what communication is about.
Right.
Letting them understand what to look for in terms of red flags, what are warning signs, what should you not be accepting, particularly when it comes to your safety. And I really don't think that, and this happens a lot, but a lot of young people are dealing with domestic violence, and I cannot understand that. I want to know where the parents are and who's talked to them about it. So there's things that we can talk about. I see Malik here. He says, it goes, I think he's talking about that song, Rule One, never let a homeless bleep stay with you. I still don't know. We're going to have to ask Voodoo if he knows. I, I'm not good at this.
Yeah, yeah, Voodoo help us out because I don't know hip
I
hop.
don't know.
My hip hop. Listen, my hip hop composed consists of Tupac and Biggie. That's the only hip hop, that old stuff.
Okay. Here he goes. He found it. He said it's called Seven Rules by Little Donald. I don't know Little Donald. I know Mickey Mouse. I know Donald Duck. I don't know nothing. I'm out this loop. I can't even tell
I
you
have
the
to
last
Google
time.
that, Malik.
I will
I
Google it,
got.
but I have no
I don't
idea.
know. Yeah, I don't know either.
Malik is talking about the Bike Week Chronicles. Now, if anybody knows anything about Bike Week, there's some shenanigans that goes on there.
Ooh.
And yeah, we don't. I've talked to my kids about Bike Week. I was like, if you go to Bike Week, let me let you know what you can probably see. But it's not all of that. It's just going to depend on where you want to be and what side of the town and what spaces you go into. It's a lot of foolishness out there. People out here worried about Freaknik. Well, I don't know if Freaknik has got anything on Bike Week. I really don't know. And then it's at the beach, so you in bikinis and almost no clothes because it's at the beach. So just think about Bike Week being Freaknik on steroids.
Oh
Okay.
Lord.
Voodoo here says when you are hypocritical when talking to your kids, you are actually doing more damage. Absolutely. Absolutely. But
Yes.
um but see, that's what I'm trying to say, guys. That's really what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to figure out if it's I don't know if the conversation is about us getting into situations about being hypocritical. Because you know that what you did was wrong, or if you feel bad about it, the idea is that you want to share the information with them. We're not talking about judging your character. I hope at some point that you have had some growth in your life. I don't like to say that people change. I like to say that people grow. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Potato potato.
Evolution. Yeah. You do evolve.
I see that Malik says, please play the clean version. Is so on topic. I would love to do that. The only issue is in these YouTube streets, you can't be playing people music because they will stop your live, take your stuff down. You just can't do it like how they was doing in the old YouTube neighborhoods. Things change. Things change. Can't do it. I see
Yeah.
Malik here says, my father was the best example to my sisters of what a man should not be.
Voodoo
Absolutely.
child.
Absolutely. I listen, I love that you said this and I take this very serious. It could be taken as a joke because you're funny. But this is very serious because we do learn what not to be from people. You can look at a person and look at their character and look at the things that they do and how they make you feel and how they make other people feel, and you know that you don't want to be that. So you're right. And I do know people like that. I know women like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not always here. I'm never here to bash men. I'm here to have a conversation. So that's why I like when you all come in here and you feel the freedom to have this chat and put this stuff out here for people. This is helping somebody. All right.
Right.
I see we got Mary having another chat here, another comment in the chat. She said the best teacher for girls is from them to see their father or adult male figures in their lives treating their wives or significant others well, to know what to look for the best taught when she sees it. Okay. Yeah, you want that. You got to take both sides of it. I agree with you. I agree that you want to
Yeah.
have those figures in your life who are treating their wives and significant other well. You're going to be taught something because you're looking at something that's good. But I agree with voodoo as well. Listen, a good example can also be of what not to be, how not to treat people. All right. I
Right.
also see in the comments here, Malik says, these days they already have seen the communicated. What? They seem to have, they already seen and communicated the info we are hiding from them amongst each other. Exactly. Exactly. And I think we were talking about that earlier, right, Tori?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of saying
Yeah.
that, like, I remember when my dad, we were having a conversation and I just heard him carefully crafting his words around what he wanted to, the message he wanted to give me. And to be honest, I'd had that conversation with my friends. We had talked about it, but kids don't know what they're talking about. We're just talking with each other, what we think we know. But it was great to hear it from my dad because it gave it more value. I took it serious because it came from a place of authority. It meant a lot more to me, and I appreciate it. And as you see, over 40 years later, I still remember it. So it doesn't leave you, you know.
Right.
I see Malik says, I forgot about the copyright algorithm. Yeah, brother, we can't do these things. We can't do it. So that means you have to send me some original beats and some original music that you say, yeah, you can use this, Miss Tanya, and that's the only way I can do it. All right. I see Voodoo here. He says, it's not a joke. My father was terrible. Man,
Wow.
listen. I know it's not a
Mm.
joke. I know it's not a joke.
Wow.
I know it's not a
Mm.
joke. Some of us are mothers with terrible baby fathers, and we have to be realistic about it. We can't sugarcoat it. It's not about dogging them. It's about that same thing that you're saying.
Yeah.
They've got examples of what not to be, what type of man not to be, or what type of man not to have in your life. They got that.
Ooh. Ooh.
That's
Mm.
real. That's real. I don't know, Tori. I
Yeah.
think we definitely open up a conversation. I
Ooh.
think you chose a very good topic.
Wow. I'm just, oh Lord. When Voodoo said it just now, I just had a trigger moment.
I listen. I understand.
Woo! Yes,
I
sir, buddy.
understand.
I had ooh, that was the trigger for me. And then what made it so bad is you said what I was thinking. His comment was that his father was terrible, And then you made the comment that we have some fathers of the kid. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let me not.
We are
Woo!
mothers with some baby daddies who are not necessarily the best
Yeah,
examples.
that part. Yeah, yeah.
Did
Because
I
I was
say it
getting.
better?
Ooh,
See, I didn't cut up.
yes. Because I was triggered. Really triggered.
I tried to channel you. I tried to channel some good words that you would say.
You
But if
got
I
it.
had
You
to
got
say it
it.
myself, I
Woo!
mean, if I said it in my cut up self, I would have said, well, some of us are just like, baby mamas for some hoes. But I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not. We
Oh
got Malik
goodness.
here in the comments. He says, I always say sometime it was better that I was absent from my kid's life when I was. In some cases, an absent father is better than a trash available one. Now, you know what?
Ooh, Malik.
You just
Malik.
punched me in my gut just now.
Woo! Jesus.
I'm gonna leave that comment up there for a little bit. And
Woo.
I wanna thank you for being so incredibly transparent with this comment. And for a kid, but for me, I needed to hear that. Today, I needed to hear this.
Me
And I didn't
too.
even, you understand me?
Yeah.
I always say, sometime it was better that I was absent from my kid's life when I was. In some
Mhm.
cases, an absent father is better than a trash available one. God
Mm.
almighty. Boy, you better
Yeah.
stop.
That was good right there. I got to make
Woo!
sure. I got to make sure Kadarius listens to this because he needs to hear that. My son needs to see that as well. I
You
mean, I
talk
tell him, yeah, I tell him all the time, but he needs to hear it. He needs to see that comment. He definitely. Oh Lord. Oh Jesus.
Mary
Mm.
says, Malik, ouch. You have shown growth. Absolutely. It takes a
Mm.
well-revolved person to make a statement like that. Do you know how
Yeah.
listen?
Mm.
Woo, brother. Let me get
Yes, some snap. That was good. And when
ah,
he said when he said that too, what else I was thinking about is the fact that I was just thinking about this, and I'm about to get emotional, but I was thinking about this that my son is about to be a senior, and his dad is missing out on all
mhm,
of this, all of this greatness. And I'm gonna
mhm,
leave it at that because I bust out crying. But I just was thinking about that. He hasn't
mhm.
been there for years, and now he's about to be a senior,
Yeah.
and he's missing all of this.
Guess what?
Oh,
It's gonna be all right. You
whew.
understand?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. Godly. I don't like to have this uncomfortable silence, but the
whew.
man just made me shut my mouth.
Yeah, and the tears are just rolling down my cheeks. Really, I mean, that was good, Malik. Whew. Mm, Lord have
I
mercy.
tell you what, insightful conversation.
Yeah,
Insightful conversation. We learned a lot here today. I appreciate
yeah,
everybody who shared a comment here today because that's what we want to do. We want to be able to have some of these harder conversations. You know, we here for each
yeah,
other. There's so much available online. There's so much that we can see, and there's people who are talking about all of the things that they want to talk about. But when we
yeah,
make a decision to just kind of have that conversation and shift it into a different gear, we never know who we're
yeah.
helping out here. We
Right.
never know.
And that's what it's all about. Quality content.
Yeah, yeah. Any last words here, Tori? We don't talk through the whole lunch hour. The good people here. We don't want people not to get back on the job and do what they got to do to bring that check home. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, all I can say, Malik shook me up with that last comment, and I just need to say, I didn't realize I needed this conversation for me. This was for me, And Malik really, really, oh my God, put things in perspective for me. So I want to tell him and everybody that joined today, thank you, because I didn't realize that I needed as much as I did. I needed this for myself.
Hmm.
I want us to always make an impact on others. But today you guys made an impact on me. And for that I am truly grateful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just here starting conversations. That's our job. We don't know where the conversation is going to go because the conversation is really up to you guys. You guys really shape this conversation. We come up with a topic and we have some questions. We have some talking points. We have our own opinions just like you do, but you make this conversation. So let me tell you something out here, sisters. This conversation that we had here today, it really is a game changer. And this conversation, if you get an opportunity to share it with someone, share it. Share it on your page. You don't know who might need to hear this because in this conversation, some wounds can be healed. Somebody can create a stronger bond, empower your life, empower your young people's lives, empower them to live their best life. And it's not just about dating, it's about understanding yourself and understanding your worth. We all got to know the importance of having strong and positive role models in our lives. But what could be more influential than hearing some of these things from your own father? And that's why it was important for us to get in here and have this conversation and be critically honest. Yeah, we joke back and forth because that's a part of a conversation as well. We got to know that it's okay. And sometimes we deliver things in a joke because it kind of help it land a little bit differently. You know, that's all I got for you guys today. I want you to get back to work. I hope that you learned something. Once again, I want to make sure that you share it. But we got to do what we got to do. I want us to get back on that clock. But before we get back on it, I want us to breathe it on out. I know that I got to take a breath and I know that I need it. One love, y'all. Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. Right? Y'all be great out here. It's what we do. One love, y'all.